It is a best of 7 now. No more best of 5s. So you have to kill a player twice. So twice. You have to kill a player twice. Got to go through, battle it out. Players have 2 lives, so you beat them once, they can go again. So if you want to get an all kill, you could. You go in and you just beat everybody. But if you say, well, here's my best player, they got eliminated early, I'll bring them out again later on in the tournament. Right? Maybe they'll be try to be my anchor or something like that. Maybe I'll start them out early. Okay, they got eliminated. Let's bring in my other players. Sweet. Or I find out, oh, I'm really good at a Vanguard versus Vanguard mirror matchup. Let's play that. Or they go, oh, I have really good Infernal versus Infernal mirror matchup here. Like if you've got these skills and to be able to do that, then that's awesome. You want to be able to showcase that. And plus, you only needed 3 to 5 players to be able to set yourself up to play in the team league. So that's great. We love to see it. Ooh, Lorenbo versus Hydra to start things out here. I'm pumped. Are you pumped? Grand Final is going to be starting shortly here. All things real time. We're bringing out Captain versus Captain again to help us get an early lead. And let's jump into it. Are we in the right colors? No, we're not in the right colors. So let's switch this up. The homies are red this time. All right, hold on, guys. We'll do our update, and then we'll do intros. Bidding. You actually have to press OK to do that. Okay, spawning up here in the north, representing the homies. The captain of the team, he is Hydra. And his opponent spawning in the south, representing all things real time. He is the captain. He is Lorenbo. All right. Ooh, are we seeing the interesting? I was like, what is this shenanigan imp going for here? So is he going for the scout just to confirm whether or not the trees are broken? Ah, trickery. Sometimes people will like creep with a tower here and stuff like that, or a tower there. But like, it's interesting to see these choices and positioning here. Look at this imp. Yeah, this is so interesting. Like it's also like you are running around getting confirmation of, okay, you're getting a shroud stone. Yeah, okay, so we'll clean this up here. But you delay things for a little bit too, because it's like, okay, you're doing that, you pop that, now I have a brute that's going to be coming across here. Like, you specifically wanted to catch that imp, but now, hey, I've got a brute. Ooh. Is he going to go and try to get the catch? Oh, look, he poked up to try to, like, confirm where are you at. Like, he knows that he's going to be creeping, but now there's 3 fiends out here. He's got to try to run away because, again, we've talked about how beefy they are right now. Early on, they're pretty tough to deal with. Oh, good. Healing up. Those little green flowers, leaves, whatever they might be. All right. Okay, going to get this around. Basically, he's going to sit there and tank as much as possible, pop it, and then try to run away. All right, you don't have enough to afford to take out the gaunt by yourself, so it's kind of just a little harassment, little poke up here. This is just like pure Iron Vault into an expansion, though. Like, we don't see any Shroud Stones coming out yet, but this is kind of just almost like an old school strategy that players would go for with this game. Like, we've gotten so used to the Conclave Gaunt creep style that it's like, it's interesting when we see this kind of old school style like this heavier Iron Vault, brute fiend strategy here. One might be better than the other, could be preference for it. I definitely am more comfortable with Gaunt styles and going through and doing that, but not saying that this is the only downside is, yeah, your Shroud Stone's late, like, but we're gonna see the split. Hey, let's get in here, see what we can find here. get some confirmation, but where is the rest of the army? Out and about. They were busy trying to creep up this spider here, and now he's going to get caught out of position here as Brute's coming up the ramp here, trying to get into the main base. Look at the double conclave getting added in, late getting added to the mix here, so he's going to be down and out of supply. So much invested in this expansion and not enough on the ground to kind of help him out. How much damage is he going to be taking here? More Brutes are arriving, though. That's going to make this a little bit easier to defend against. Conclave's now finishing up. How much does he have banked up to be able to start producing his own gaunts? There we do see some start coming up. Of course, he can run over here to this expansion, and he will be able to kind of start making that hold, but pay close attention to the gaunt numbers. That is what we care about. And look at this. Immediately starts right-clicking down, targeting him down. There's no Shroud Stones here to help out. Reinforcements coming up here, and he will start picking him apart. Imps getting pulled off the line, and GG is called. Game 1 going to the homies here. The updated aggressive creeping strategy coming in clutch here. Gaunts, it's like they're too good not to have in your army here. And this like plan of, okay, I'll build up and go for this, I'll go for Brutes, is awesome, but like without the Shroud Stones for added defense, it became really scary, really hard to be able to kind of manage it and get through that fight there. And once he pushed up with all the Gaunts, he said, okay, you don't have any army. I'm catching you at the perfect timing where you're invested in trying to get the payoff here. And, oh, gosh, not working. Not working there. All right, spawning up in the north, representing the homies, the captain, currently up 1-0, trying for the all kill. He is Hydra. His opponent spawning in the south, representing our RTS and all things real time. He is the Vanguard player known as Eric. Okay, Secluded Grove. Doggo's on the hunt, looking for resource flowers. He's finding them. They exist, and that is, if you've ever been a Infernal player going, I've never seen one of these, that's because the doggo has already eaten them all. Yeah. They're out and about, and he's found them, so you don't get any. We're seeing a conclave opening, going for that kind of gaunt adventures and gaunt creeping. That is going to be one of the ways to kind of start things out in this series. Now, the question is, will we see Eric respawn in Kine and go for some doggo creeping adventures? Nope. Early Lancers. Is he going to go for the ambush play? We've seen this happen a couple of times where players will go for the ambush and they'll hide in the shrubberies, in the bushes, in the trees, where they know that they can kind of sneak in there and get some damage done. Expansion coming out, and this is kind of that, like, he's just going to rely purely on that. So he said, okay, well, you're going to hide in your base, so I'll deal damage to this until you feel like you have a strong enough army, and you're not going to have a strong army. So I hope that you are prepared to remake this. That's kind of the brain plans behind this. And yeah, you see kind of like, all right, we'll get a Shroud Stone. This has a lot of health. He's not really worried about it dying, but that's kind of our plan here, right? Okay, there's a meat farm coming down. He's waiting as much as possible, but these Gaunts are still very vulnerable. With double dog, double lancer, he could be able to kill off any Gaunts that come out. And really, it's like any amount of damage that you're dealing now is going to help out later on if you push in and are able to go for this push. Oh, had a weird lag spike there for a second there. But now we go, getting in here. Another Shroud Stone going to get added in. Doggo's immediately going for it. Lancers doing their job, trying to get up here, but it's basically a kite forward, trying to get to the safety of the Shroud Stone. But he's got to be careful not to lose any of these Gaunts here. Yes, they're getting a little bit of extra health on top of the Shroud, but it's not enough as two get cut in half here, and he's continuing up this aggression, but will have to fall back here, and the infestation dealing some damage. Will we get the pops? Oh my gosh, he gets away with 1 health. This push is over, but look how much damage. This is what we were talking about. Is it's for the later stages too. If you can be able to push in and do so much damage and kill this, that's so much investment there. But we do have our double Shroud Stones. We're continuing up more and more. Look at this. Oh my gosh. 5 in this location here, and he set himself up ready to go with this. It says, let's position ourselves here to get to the next stages. Expansion going to be coming down here, healing up. We're kind of in this creep out mode. I get to control creeping. I get to control what's going on. You basically get this one little spot here to creep, and that is it. Now, you think they'd lose this fight straight up? Yes, but if you kite back far enough, all right, you get to be able to deal damage, run away without losing any of your troops here. Oh, thank yous for the follows, guys. We've got some awesome Stormgate action. This is the VTL Vulcan Team League here between these two teams. It is all kill format right now. The homies and Hydra are currently up 1-0 in this best of 7, and we're on Secluded Grove. What more could you ask for? Awesome stuff that's happening here. So getting vision camps, great to see. Gives you complete information about where your opponent's army is moving. And this army in a straight up fight is going to lose to the amount of lancers that are here. So we see doggos trying to position themselves, get the info. A couple of the fiends coming over to confirm. Okay, you have your expansion. What's happening? What's going on with that? And now we're getting ourselves positioned over here. A little bit of micro, a little bit of skirmishes happening as the the fiends get into the base and just kind of confirm what is happening. But there's an ambush waiting, set up over here in the shrubbery. Will he be able to catch anything? Right now, this is not like an area that he can kind of push into unless he commits. Let's see how much he's going to go. He's going for the Shroud Stones, just kind of poking and prodding. What do you have over here? Where's your army? Can I draw it out? He's trying to, but... Oh, doggos. Look at this. There they are. It's like doggos are going to catch the imp going for the expansion here. In the meantime, command post is coming down here for Eric as he's kind of building himself up into the third base. Right. There we go. I was like, what? I had a little hiccup there, it looked like, for a second. I don't know what was going on. OBS was being like, hey, high bit rate. Apologize for any hiccups in the stream for a second there, guys. But we have the awesome Doombringer adventures here as the expansion. This center location is such a crucial spot. If you can get it early without your opponent being aware of it, you're going to be in so much like lead. But you have to be careful about it. So the Doombringer is flying around trying to get information. Exos have been added in here, and this Bioforce is going to get even scarier. Let's see. Can he catch it? He's going to look for an angle. He's ready for the defense here. But this is what you need. You need to draw your opponent's attention, right? To see, hey, what is going on? Pay attention to me. Don't go out looking for a way into this. And look, both players know what the goal is. The goal is to take that early and get a lead, especially when you have sit there at 3 bases. But look at this. Dropping inside the main base will start actually getting a couple of picks, but got to be careful. The Exos have arrived, and they deal quite a bit of damage. We've already seen this one leveling up to level 1 veteran status. So again, the more that you kill, the more that you increase your damage and health. Right now, basic one's 19 damage. Once he's leveled up, he's jumping up to 20.9. Oh, more quick, easy kills off some bobs, and now he can start targeting down some of these Exos. He's got to be careful about his microing here, and look at this. More getting cleaned up. He will commit all of these here, but this is that distraction. I'm paying attention to what's happening elsewhere and losing out on a few units, and actually doesn't get to cancel. Will lose all of those resources for free. That is a huge win there for Eric here, and we'll recall this out. So Eric cleaning this up, saying, yeah, I'm on 3 bases. I've cleaned up a lot of your drop. You've committed so many resources to that. How well are you going to be dealing with this? Lots and lots of gaunts, though. Remember, they're glass cannon units. They're very, very strong power-wise, but very fragile, very weak in that regard of armor. So we're going to see cleaning this up. That's pretty decent force against this small battalion here. But, you know, he's still on this kind of like, I need to be careful. I need to keep my Exos around my base for a little bit in case another drop shows up. So we'll see kind of the cleaning up more and more trees. That's the goal here, right? It's like make enough of a path that you can get in and out and easily defend if need be. But Imp's getting ready to take a 3rd base here. We see speed camps getting taken over here as our Infernal player continues to creep for his team, the homies. In the meantime, the drop is going to commence over here. Get some more creeping done. Let's get some health camps. Again, let's try to get as much creeping done as possible. And that's every time you kill one of these creeps, you get a slight bump in resources. But you also are getting, the added bonus, whether it's the speed camp, whether it's the healing camp, whatever it is. And look at this. Hey, I don't care about getting this base right now, but I care about making sure that I have avenues to attack you. And look, does get a reveal confirming. Hydra on 2 bases, really just kind of committed to this. Says I had to spend a lot of more resources on my tech up because I'm worried about that bioforce that I'm fighting against. So now we're seeing this kind of build up. The trees have been cleared. No expansion still over here at this 3rd base, but we're going to see there's not much defenses-wise. Yes, there's a small bioforce there, but he's got to be careful not to get split, right? He doesn't want his army to get cut in half. He doesn't want to get flanked by things. The Magmadons are going to be the key thing. There's in very low numbers here. If he can slow down and stop this force, he'll be in a much better position. But look, this is what we talked about, splitting the forces. The Gaunt's going to get jumped on immediately here. He needs to have the Magmadons. There's the flank. Magmadon flank jumping on top of the Exos. Going to start stunning quite a lot of them there. And now we do see a lot of these Gaunts getting closer and closer as he's repositioning. That was the split he needed. That's what he needed with those Magmadons. You see just how hard it is to chase this fast-moving bioforce. He really needs to try to catch up to it, weaken them the best he can, and he is doing the best that he can to chase them down. But in the meantime, Eric is delaying. He says, no, deal with this. Don't deal with my army. If I can start shaving off more of your forces, I'm still going to get further ahead here. Yes, I'm losing a lot of these. Yes, all of these will die here, but if I can have favorable trades, it'll position me in a better spot moving forward here. And he gets in the corner. Will gonna go down swinging, shooting the last couple of units off here, and the Fiends increase in numbers. But where is the rest of the army? Where's the next influx? He's had this 3rd base up for a while. Can he do anything with it? He needs all of those resources to start pumping out. He needs these productions to be able to really start kicking in here, and we're starting to see some sentry posts get it added in, but it might be a little too late here as the Infernal Horde marches its way across the map. You see the swarm of red on the mini-map as the layers of Gaunts are up at the front here. Now, this is what you want. You said, okay, let's kind of clean these up. Oh, Hornets getting added in here to kind of help out, but guess what? Magmadon's still stomping around, causing a problems. So many Gaunts in the back, dealing a lot of damage. Infesting coming down here. Let's see if he can make any use of this infestation. We do see the big push forward. Lots of these units very weak. We see the Hornet doing so much extra damage, but there's still so many Gaunts on the grounds that it might not even matter here that there is that Hornet in the air. And yeah, look, we'll clean that up. Lots of Bobs are now going down, stampeding through, destroying all the robots here. And there are a couple Lancers popping up, but now with this Sim City, all the Gaunts are tucked in nice and safe, and Fiends will tear apart the remaining army, and this natural expansion is overrun here. All of the Bobs, all the Exos still left in ruins. This is the tactic we've talked about. Play the delay game, collect yourself, force your opponent to drag it out a little bit longer, exhaust them of a day of gaming, knowing that they are having to do the all-kill format. The longer this goes on, the more that I micro, the more that I sit here and drag it out, the weaker you might be for your next opponent. So we're going to be sitting here and trying to force you to exhaust yourself here. And he's going to be going around doing everything he can in this position to be able to do that. Just kind of holding the line, saying, yes, come on, kill me off. You've already won this one. I know you have. But you're going to have to be working for it. Look at this. Still moving around, repairing. This is okay. This is where the production is. Do we have any production? We got a couple. We got a couple over here. But yeah, the Infernal Swarm gets to infest all the Bobs, all the Lancers that are left there. And now more and more Fiends get added in. The Brute's still there tanking things up. A Gaunt's getting caught in the back. Doesn't really matter. All right? None of this really matters. It's all set up for that kind of big final push. Hey, we've got this. Let's wrap this up. I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing here. I know why you're microing so hard. Now, Eric could come back. There are 2 lives in the finals. All right, it is a best of 7. That is a possibility. More and more troops coming across. Even these guys. Let's go throw some Shroud Stones down. Right. What's the plan here? A couple Lancers catching a couple of them, but now he's ready. He says, "Let's go." your little pocket that you've got left, your last hold is not going to be enough. GG is called, and Eric taps out, says, yes, you have it. You've got it. The Infernal Swarm. Infernal Host getting it, giving the homies the 2-0 lead in this best of 7. The exhaustion play, though, in the end, I like it. I mean, there was that investment into the expansion. We've talked about how beneficial expansions can be, but there also can be detrimental if you go, I had to invest into this expansion, right? That's a big chunk of my resources that I could have been making a few more troops with. If your production gets off a little bit, right? You get stuck of like, oh, I've got a couple queued up. Maybe I just need that extra barracks there that I maybe could have added on, but instead I had to invest into my third base and this expansion, and it hasn't paid for itself yet. I have not paid for it and then benefited from those resources that I've gotten in my income here. So that is really interesting, of that kind of small window of, I'll just stay on 2 bases, and we'll stay on 2 bases as long as possible, and I'm just going to overwhelm you with my pure gaunt army here and go from there. And Hydra's plan worked out for him. Like having those couple of Magmadons, the Magmadon in the Doombringer, the drop, really turned the tide in these fights here of being able to sneak his way in there. Okay, sneak behind you. Let's see what happens here. It is going to be Jagged Maw. You know it's Jagged Maw just from this loading screen. We can see it. It says, hey, you don't get to know what players are, what colors they are. We just get to know that Stormgate is awesome. That's what we get to know. Oh, did we change colors? No, we don't have to. So spawning up here in the north, currently on a winning streak, winning 2 games in a row, representing the homies. He is Hydra. And his opponent, doing the good lucks, have funs. And he said, did you spawn in 10 seconds? Good. So I don't think so. We've got, of course, oh, I froze. Oh, that was weird. Representing all things real time, he is Bose. All right. So I don't know. Hydra had a little lag spike or something. I'm not really sure what was happening with that. But let's talk a little bit about Jagged Maw. So here's the things to know about. Oh, interesting. Okay. Here's the things to know about. We've got our speed camp going over on the center. We've got a vision camp in the center. We've got double siege camps here. We've seen how effective the siege camps are. There is a jagged, rocky barrier preventing you from going through the center of the base, center of the map. But these can be torn down just like trees can on Broken Crown. This is often the kind of go-to strategy that we see players utilize. This kind of shroud stone. I can creep up with this. This little fiend opening here. This is the stuff that I did, that Bose is doing when I first started playing this map. This shroud stone in the center, it like is a perfect spot that you can pull and creep from both sides. But this is like you build up a strong army, and then you could either push with it or you can go right for the siege camp afterward. Getting the vision camp is going to be important because then you'll see how far along. It'll give you vision of this low ground, so you'll know how far along your opponent is toward getting that siege camp. And yeah, so he will be able to see it, and that is kind of that information. Okay, you are going for it. Are you going to go for the double camp? Are you going to, like, how much are you going to commit to this? And now it's kind of that, all right, let's gather some resources. Let's try to position ourselves so we can get ours. It's dangerous unless you have a strong army to go through it. That's partly why having all those fiends is going to make a big difference. But he's got to also be able to keep track of knowing timing of it. He sees there's nothing being destroyed here. All right, the vision camps helps. So he knows this is kind of a long push, and his opponent is committing to this long push, essentially. So he's like, okay, you're not going to clean up and clear up the path? Interesting. I won't either, and we'll just kind of go. We'll go the long way. We'll see what happens. We'll meet in the middle. I'll take advantage of my Shroud Zone. Look at this. That'll help out in this, like, push. And, oh, look at that. We'll get the kind of wrap around there and immediately snipes that siege camp. Great positioning here. Gaunt versus Gaunt is what we're going to be caring about here, as the siege camp is still so far away. But look at this, tearing apart. You cannot infest fiends, and now all the fiends have been cleaned up for Hydra here. He's got a couple of Gaunts coming over here, and they immediately retreat. Now he's left with nothing. He's trying to take an expansion. He's got a couple of Gaunts added in here. We're seeing some Shroud Zones, but the siege camp, the catapult, is slowly rolling its way across the map. This is the thing about the slow push. The benefits of going and getting the vision camp, getting that speed camp early. Now, he's got to be careful. Just wait till you see how much damage this does once it hits these Gaunts here, because if he gets a couple of hits on it, he will end up dying. So he's using this fiend as to kind of micro around and be the target. Pay attention to this so you do not hit the Gaunts. Look at this. Boom. Dancing, dodging the best he can here, and he's got to be able to control his micro perfectly to prevent his units from dying here. And look at this. He is doing a phenomenal job, but got to be careful because it's very low health. But the amount of Gaunts for his opponent are like non-existent. There he goes, moving his way forward here. Dancing will lose the Fiend off here, and so many of these units are low. He's got to be careful. Look at this, trying to force some of these Fell Hogs to come out here and fight here. It is going to be dangerous. He's got to get close. And look at that. Boom. Immediately chunks this thing. That's just the main difference in how easily these Gaunts can get cleaned up. So now he's going to be able to move forward and says, okay, cool. You've got that. No problem. Let's clean up this. And we are able to both secure our expansion. Hydra having his up first. And this kind of that advantage of neither player was able to kind of end the game with it. But by having their Shroud Stones here, this is setting up for the next stages. And we see Bose is ready for those next stages based on how he's setting up and cleaning up the middle of the map here. Drops coming out. Also was able to tech up to that. By staying on one base longer, the Greater Shrine was able to come out quicker. And we see kind of this positioning here. Shroud Stones coming out. How are we doing over here? Yep, Shroud Stones are out for both players inside the bases for defense. And here is our first little Doombringer drop coming in. Will he find an angle? Already taking some damage here. Just kind of a small load up here. Pokes up here. Does see that there is the Doombringer for his opponent. And there's a lot more Gaunts in there. So that is kind of also information. Okay, you've had your expansion up longer. You have more resources that you have been able to commit into this. Let's see how well the defense is over here for Bose. Poking and prodding. Finding. Okay, let me get an angle. Clear off your Shroud Stone. Sees additional Shroud Stones coming in. He says, okay, you're really blocking this path in very nicely here. Are you going? Nope. Finds an angle right behind the mineral lines where you're going to drop down. Great reaction. Look at that. Quick pulls. Will pull these units in. Takes a few off there. And actually great blocking. That was huge of that positioning. Using that Shroud Stone to appear and try to block so he could not run away. So great little defense so far here. Not taking only a few hits. Not losing too many. We'll try to find an angle in the base. Fell Hogs, of course, become Fiends. Very nice. Be able to push his way forward here. Getting up inside of the main base with kind of drop-on-drop action right as those Shroud Stones start to utilize that protection. Say, go away. I'm absorbing a lot of the hits. So both players not really able to kill each other off here. Feeling pretty good about how things are looking. Still dancing around, but it's like everybody knows siege camps are still a threat, still something that we have to be aware of, still something that we should be prepared to have another push come our way. And this is like the delay tactics. How much can I delay and draw your attention? Sadly, it's not very much. He basically goes in, flies in, says, okay, anything? No, not really. Okay, where's the rest of your army? Why aren't you coming to deal with this? Well, it's because he's taking the siege camp in the center. And he's just going to push through. And he could try to take both, actually, and do for a double siege camp push. This follow-up can be even scarier. Now, you've got to, like, if that was the case, he should have been over here attacking this already to try to kind of draw the, you know, the push in. But it basically says, hey, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Use this to distract your opponent. But the timing, he knows he has to retreat because here's the siege camp. It actually just like rolled this way all the way to the front of the base. How are the Gaunts going to be able to help out with this? Siege camp immediately dies, but the push is still going. We do see Shroud Stones are here. The Doombringer, though, has come back, and now he says, let's delay it. Let's drop down here just basically as an aggressive push to try to stop you. Good hold coming out. Both players, neither player given an inch in this battle on Jagged Maw. This is actually going to be going to a little bit later stages. We're going to start to see these players kind of secure and start teching up a little bit more here, which is going to be really cool. Yep, there's the Shadow Clef. I was like, we're going to start seeing Magmadons as the transition from this point in time. And we already start to see them. One is out here. Both's going to be charging his way forward, basically saying, hey, you cannot take this. I'm not going to give you this at all. Using that to help block the path here. Lots of brutes in here. Basically big meat shields. Not really able to kind of do much else, but the Doombringer was just kind of denying, trying to get as much information. So let's load up, use the Gaunts the best we can without losing too many. We'll lose a few in this process. Magmadon slamming, trying to help out. The next push is going to be coming, but in the meantime, let's deny this base. We see Hydra jumping over here, going to be taking out this third base, forces the deny, and we'll be able to kind of load up, get on out of here. But how much defense does he have back at home? A couple Magmadons added in, a couple Brutes. Oops, some Hellborns actually here now too to kind of help add their own siege power to this. But Magmadons coming up forward here, slamming into each other here. There they go. There's the slam. He wants to get close to the Gaunts. That's his goal. Try to slam that down here. And Fiend on Fiend's going to be going off. Fellhog's getting in here as well. Couple of the Hellborn shots actually landed, making some good damage here. Let's see. More Brutes coming in here. Basically, they've got to be the meat shields as the slams are crucial. And the defense is looking solid right now for Hydra. Gaunts are kiting back. The catapult's there, but not long for this world. Really, he's got to make sure he secures and keeps these Hydras, or the Gaunts alive as Hydra pushes these back here. Another push up here in the center, actually, as a Magmadon's coming up here. Still, he's not done with this, but he knows he cannot continue to push up here without the higher tier units, without the extra damage. So, having the third base secured, continuing to put him in a good spot, loading up double Magmadon, going for the Magmadon drops now. Ooh, there it is. There's the third. I was wondering, will he go for this pocket expansion, feeling behind? You also need to be able to, if you're taking this, then you should try to go for this base here. You get ore, get minerals at the same time. And all right, some slams coming down. Catches it. There's the Magmadon, and he's going right for them Gaunts. A couple of them are going to immediately get popped here, but he's going to be caught back here. You want to be able to kind of push and try to delay and get rid of this Doombringer the best you can, but it's so hard with the Magmadons blocking and preventing you from doing that. You see over here, this base is secured. That kind of gives Hydra the idea, cool, you want that base? I'll take my own base. The way that this works out is that there are trees that are blocking this. All right, Magmadons cannot get through, Brutes cannot get through, Hellborns cannot get through. Only small units, so you have to clear that path to be able to get in and out. You can also take this path up to the north and sneak around and siege up from the high ground up here. None of that is happening at this moment in time, but just something to be aware of in the future as this game progresses further and further along here. Vision Camp going to get taken as the Brutes, or as the Magmadons and the Hellborns are able to kind of start moving their way across the map. This Vision Camp is actually really important right now for knowing, is my opponent going to be going for the Siege Camp or not? I need to know, and that will kind of help allow him to be able to get that information here. Doombringer Magmadon drop's going to come, looking for an angle. Okay, are you expanding? What's happening over here? And he will be able to catch a couple, but this is not really what you want to be dropping on, right? You really want to be dropping on something big, like all of those Gaunts right there. All right, and there he goes. Slam, slam, slam. Let's dance around. Can I get any more? Oh my gosh, so low health. That is huge. That was great. That's like kind of what you're hoping for with something like that. And eventually, you know, as hard as it is to say, being able to get in the Shadow Flyers, being able to just kind of pop that out of the sky might have to be necessary. Like if you can catch that out of nowhere when he's not paying attention, you can be in a good spot. Now these army positioning is key. We see kind of the reposition here. Bo's getting himself ready, getting these up to the front. All right, Magmadons are needed. He's got to keep his Hellborns back. Drop play from both. Look at this. Let's replace these. Let's get rid of our Magmadons here that are super weak. All right, If I'm going for the slam, I can't really afford it. And yeah, there's not many gaunts over here for Hydra, but he's got so much high-tech units here that it's hard to really deal with this. And here's the push-up. Moving up to the high ground. Lots of Shroud Stones. Will we catch this army? Will we find the angle to kind of trap it in this corner here? This is this weird positioning because you're in this little tunnel where your units can't really work the way that you want. The Magmadons, though, are going to be crucial. And the Magmadon count is so high right now for Hydra. He's really just trying to get his way up here so his Gaunts, his Hellborns can siege down this base the best he can. But that just means that this base can become vulnerable. If your army's over there trying to attack me, then I can push in and try to attack you. And now that you're stuck in this tunnel, what are you going to do? Hellborns, though, would be phenomenal. Problem is, Bose doesn't have very many. He's got a few that he's relying on to kind of help keep him in here, but it's tough, right? You need them to start sieging down. They are doing great at that, and now we see them moving forward. Magmadons coming in, starting to slam. Loads up. Look at it, still slamming in the sky. Oh, Hellborns blasting from both sides. What a positioning. Spriggans! There it is. There's the transition. What anti-air do you have? Do you have enough? You've got a couple of cute little gaunts, but that's about it. There's the Stampede. Let's start charging our way forward here. Get me a path out of here as the Spriggans are reigning supreme. Look at this. That was why we didn't see very many Magmadons. That's why we didn't see very many Hellborns, because he was prepared for the next transition, the counter move. That's great that you have all of that anti-ground. What do you have in the air? Lots of towers to help him out here, but that army just crumbled. And we see that Hydra's supply does drop down quite a bit here, but he's got a lot of bases up and running. He's got a decent economy to help him stay alive. As long as he can deal with these Spriggans, he'll be okay. Hellborns are now the ones sieging up, but where are the Magmadons to help support them? You have Spriggans to kind of stay back, but there's the Dragon. Now it's going to be Spriggans versus the Flayed Dragon. Doom Weavers here. Doombringers trying to drop something down to kind of make a split in this army here. There's the slams coming down as the Magmadons move their way forwards here, and all of the Hellborns are forced to retreat. This Dragon is the siege breaker here. Dragon on dragon action as we see both players are able to grab their own dragon and get in here. The Spriggans, though, still adding extra DPS, and does end up sniping that Doombringer there, and we do see cleaning up the remaining Magmadons that kind of got stuck in their movement. They were trying to move, trying to retreat, but they got body blocked in here. Spriggans were cleaned up by the Flayed Dragon here for Hydra. Things starting to kind of even up supply-wise between both players here, but there is still more favor in the air for our blue player, representing all things RTS. Both moving his way forward here, trying to find his way to siege up, and he's getting it. He's infecting all of these units, and the Hellborns are cracking them open, turning them into his own fiends for his armies. But is this enough? He's enough to at least crack this base, but can he win the air battle? Dragon versus Dragon. The Spriggan helping out, because remember, it is able to start weakening, dealing damage, weakening his attack, making it so hard to kill this dragon. And he does end up pulling it back, keeping it alive. He needs that. That's necessary for staying into this game. And now Shroud Stone's getting added in here, saying, hey, you can't have it. This is my base. I have the whole bottom side of the map here. I've had this running for so long. I've got this base here that's given me so many minerals here, so much therium, that I cannot really have to worry. I was able to invest in my air earlier. I have complete air superiority with my Spriggans, and now he can get in here and start cleaning up and go for this big push with the siege camp. He says, okay, we've had a slugfest. I could not kill you, but I killed your base, and I know I'm ahead. If I can get a big push here, I might be able to just end the game. And he's moving across the center of the map here, cleaning up the vision camp. Now, will he start the second siege camp? Does he do it? No. He just moves forward. A couple of Shroud Stones. We're not as worried about those. Remember, Shroud Stone's great early on. They do a delay tactic, but what can be done here? where is the army for Hydra to respond to this? It's going to be so difficult as the siege camp is here, moving its way forward. And so many air units. The Spriggan army, the Spriggan transition out of nowhere, caught all those ground units off guard, and it's been carrying BO7 into this leading position here. Hydra is trying to build up, trying to get up his Shadow Flyers, trying to get some sort of economy going that he could be able to utilize to keep himself in this game here. The longer that this goes on, the bigger his army can start to build up. And this is like that, I'm going to be as safe as possible, both spreading out his army, saying, okay, if I can stop you from expanding, all right, taking out your expansions that you have, and just get more and more ahead. So yeah, he's just going to fall back. All right, great success. Take an expansion, kill an expansion. Hydra left in shambles. Yes, he's got a dragon, but what else does he have going for him? Not much. But we talked about it. It's all kill format. If your goal is to weaken and tire out your opponents, this is how you do it. Don't just GG out early when it's like an all kill format. Force them to come in and commit. Yes, you're going for this? Awesome. Show me. Finish the game. Come get me. He's got quite a bit. Look at him splitting again, spreading out because he knows the Shadow Flyers are going to start coming in here and being an issue. And that's going to be starting to be on both player sides, utilizing them to help kind of keep their dragons alive and keep this Spriggan army going here. And there we go. So much damage right here in the center. All of these Hellborns trying to do what they can. All the Magmadons trying to do what they can, but the ground falls, and now we're left with just a swarm of blue Infernal, and GG is called as we see Hydra tap out, giving all things real time their first game in this series. It's now sitting at 2-1 in this best of 7, first to 4. Will Hydra come back again for the revenge, or will we see a new player get added in? We do have basically 2 lives that are available there for players here in this best of 7. Very cool game. Siege camps did play an important role, but because of how skilled and high level these players are, it was not a game-ending thing. They wouldn't just come in here and immediately die. So that's very good to see that these players are, aware of the map. They understand it. We got to see pretty much a much longer game, one that is rare to see on Jagged Maw because it's such aggressive. But, that's the kind of key thing we saw is the transitions from players. Who could be able to get up the higher ground count first? How can you utilize it? We saw Hydra trying to position himself and move over and try to siege up the base, which is awesome. Really, we needed to look and see, okay, where's the transition? If you cannot deal damage here and can't do that, maybe swing over to the other side of the map. Maybe swing over to the left-hand side and try to find a spot to be able to do that. Wasn't able to, was kind of committed to that, and then was caught off guard completely as the Spriggan transition came out of nowhere. And we've seen this from a couple of players, right? In a couple tournaments that we've seen is the Spriggan transition of just out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, I've basically sacrificed my resources of getting Gaunts just to be getting, a larger ground force. Because I know I can win with that. Until you realize that you have no way to attack air units, and then you're left. So, spawning up here in the north, representing all things real time. Currently coming back, trying to hold the line, get some more victories here. He is BO7. A little bit of micro shenanigans from his opponent, spawning down in the south, representing the homies. He's our blue Vanguard player, known as Skillis. So very cool to see. Shout out to everybody hanging out and watching with us today. You like my Squirtle squad? Got to represent, Thank you for the follows, guys. This is, of course, the best of 7 finals here in the VTL, the Vulcan Team League, and we've got some exciting matches happening. All right, we're going to be doing some little bit of shenanigans And oh, we got okay. So also give spires so you can get good anti-air for when the dragon shows up. Yes. So talking about the last game that we saw, right? The shadow flyers that come out that are basically like the scourge. They explode. What? Look at this. Oh my gosh, we're going hard. He says, "Nah, man, I ain't playing a long game against you. I'm playing for keeps against you." And we're gonna see a little shroud stone get added in here. He's got fiends already out that he can keep poking up. So we see doggos coming in. Their whole goal here is to try to keep these fiends outside of his base. Go away. It's basically like a cannon rush in StarCraft, but not as powerful. Right, you can't commit so many resources to it because look at this. The dogs deal so much damage early on. By having a unit that you get to attack with early, it makes it so much harder. But there it is. It's finished. So now we're going to start seeing a sentry post get added in to help. Doggos do a quick scan, make sure there's anyone else coming. But the brute is going to be a problem. Right, he's so hardy, so tanky in this situation here. Look at this. Now he's up in the high ground. He's got the vision that he needs, just like if you were doing a cannon rush. And so he's getting in here, attacking this. His goal is to try to deal as much damage as possible to this. Prevent it from coming up. Lancer is out, though. This is going to make a huge difference. If he holds this on, repairs this, gets a Lancer in, now the Buzzsaw Cannon will put a stop to this. But he's just going to walk by. He's going right into the main base. Says, cool, your Lancer's over there dealing with my Shroud Stone. That means that you can't really deal with this. Thanks for the follows, guys. We got such a fast-paced, exciting game going on here today. I love it. I love to see it. All right. Next wave of units coming out here. Lancer coming in, slicing and dicing, forcing the brute to split in half, turn into those fiends there when he's about to die. And now we get up here, still progressing forward. This is not an all-in, though. This was a strong, well-timed opening here to try to get significant damage. It's dealing significant economic damage, too, because you're still dealing with this Shroud Stone, still fighting this as fiends are continuing to move in. Brutes are coming in here, picking off a few units here and there. And behind all this, there's expansion already up and running. It's not like he's just said, I'm only going for this. He's saying, I'm holding W for a while and disrupt you, mess with you, try to make it so it's difficult for you to play the game that you want to play. But that just means doggos were able to slip past. As now we kind of get into that kind of, okay, breathe a second. We survived the initial attack. We survived the early aggression. Now I just kind of have to get ready to survive the next stage. How can I do that? Let's get in here and get some info. Oh, already doing some damage to a gaunt. That's the next stage. This is where we're kind of very key and looking and close eyes on the number of gaunts that are out, because that's kind of the next thing to help keep the Infernal player going here. Lancers moving their way forward here. Going to poke and prod. Doggo gets the scout off. Great positioning and map awareness there as Skillus is able to kind of confirm that. Now, of course, trees were able to be torn down, so that allows him to kind of get over here. And a couple of fiends just saying, oh, you actually have a scarier force here. How much is he going to commit up here towards this? So we'll be able to kind of poke up, prod, and got to be careful not to get surrounded. Yes, your Lancers are hardy, but they will be able to still get cleaned up. Look at that great control, pulling that one weakened unit away, basically saying, hey, I will save the rest of my army even if this guy dies. And yeah, you're just still look drawing him away. Oh, gets caught. But that's okay. More and more reinforcements coming up here for Skillus. He's trying to weaken these as much as possible. It's going to be hard to actually deal significant damage and stop this base from going up. So you try to find angles to keep your opponent on his side of the map, right? The other way around, we got to see our Infernal player both be the aggressor. So now he has to be the defensive player here as Skillus is moving around the map trying to find and make something happen here for his team. He's taking his own third base, though. Bobs are on the move. It is going to be kind of heavy in this bio. We're going to see very heavy Lancer plays to open it up here, eventually transition into the Medtechs, into the Exos as he kind of gets into those later stages. For now, he's looking for the angles, looking for a way to kind of force his opponent to be, disrupted, annoyed. Pay attention to this, where we're going to see where is Bose going to go. Where's his transition from this going to go? He's got the Greater Shrine up. We've got the Conclaves added in here. But he's going to have to be investing more in army. He's going to have to be investing more in Shroud Stones right now, and can't really sneak off necessarily to be able to kind of tech up into something quite yet. He's going to be trying to find other angles to get advantages. So some of that, getting confirmation of where the army is. we'll be kind of going over, still scouting. Do you have a base over here? Have you opened this path up? You have not. So that's kind of that, like, okay, am I ahead? Do you have a third base? I don't know. He's going to have to be checking over on the other side here. But keeping this over here to see when his opponent tries to take that base is going to be important. Lancers coming up. The wall of brutes, though. Look at this Sim City here. This is kind of, you are not going to get a good angle with your Lancers to get in here to kind of make something happen. So very, very tough for him to kind of poke up. So he just kind of falls back. All right, let's go to the next best thing. I'll start creeping. The meantime, we're going to be seeing basically the big power up, the utilization of all these resources these players have been doing. We're going to be seeing more productions added on here as we get into the next stages. So Magmadon's going to be coming out here very shortly. More conclaves added into the mix so we can start kind of really powering things up. Meantime, no real deviation yet so far. Just kind of continuing Lancers out here. Exos now getting added in, kind of building up that bio count that we talked about here. No med techs or anything yet at this point in time, but Hellborns first being revealed as they start popping out. That's why we have so many Iron Vaults added into this, so we can get to those higher tech units. Magmadons are good, but they aren't as good if you can't catch the bio. And if they just run away, then you're kind of stuck. So you have to be saying, well, let's be defensive. Let's kind of build up. Let's get ready and slowly creep out and just have a strong enough army that's hard for you to push into. But by playing this route, it leaves you vulnerable to other aspects. If your opponent turtles up, you have kind of two options available to you. One option is you can try to harass them, mess with them a little bit, find chinks in their armor, force them to turtle up even harder usually when you do something like that. If you're going drop plays or things like that, then they go, okay, I'll sit here and I'll turtle and I'll add more, static defense. The other option is to expand, take additional bases. Your opponent is there hiding. Well, then that means they're not on the map scouting and getting information about what you're doing, allowing you to get advantages elsewhere. And that seems to be the case in this, as Skillus is kind of going out, creeping, utilizing the fact that he has information. He can start going and getting those camps and still checking to see where is the army. And it is pushing its way over to the right. Wants to be going for this vision camp, wants to be able to kind of say, hey, this army is pretty scary. I've got brutes in the front to absorb hits. I've got enough gaunts to hopefully shred through and actually deal some damage, but this is a danger spot where the army is over on the right, and that means, hey, your army's not here. I'm going to be pushing up into your base. What do you have here to defend? And there's not much here. So now are we going to see kind of that split? Oh, Medtech's getting added in, but actually getting caught out here. We'll have to run and retreat back. Are we going to see the base race? Are we going to see the players just ignore each other's base, not going for defense, and just go pure attack? That seems to be the case. And oh my gosh, great defensive positioning, having defenders advantage to have Magmadons pop out and clean up the Exos. Lancers will be able to clean that up, but losing all those Exos hurt so much. They were a huge part of the army's damage here, and now we see Boss just moving his way forward here. Boss is saying, I do not care about your bases. You can have all the bases in the world, but you can't deal with my army. All the conclaves I've added in have increased the number of gaunts that I've had. All of my Hellborns in the back have been able to deal so much damage, and what do you got to deal with this? You went over to attack me. You were so busy defending, you missed out on my Magmadons getting added into the mix and being able to clean up all of your Exos. But now the Lancers are coming in here. They're back. There's the siege down from the Hellborns. Couple of them starting to fall, but really pay close attention to the number of gaunts that are on the right-hand side here. They're starting to infest so many units. Really, they were untouched in that fight. A couple Lancers jumped on them, but that was about it. And GG is called. Skillus taps out, tying things up here with a 2-2 set. Great job for all things real time, and Bose for taking that little victory here. Great job getting information out here. So yeah, again, going for the route of saying, I will take my expansion, I'll do this, I'll poke up. Really, if the Exos and the army that were fighting over there on Bose's side of the map did more damage or were microed a little bit more when the Magmadons came out, he could have continued with that force and continued to push up and threaten more and do a base race situation. But he couldn't. Once the Magmadons came out and ate all the Exos, that push basically became null and void. We go, well, I've got Lancers. They're all right. But now I need higher DPS. And there's so many Fiends, so many Gauns, so many Hellborns pushing me right now that I cannot keep up with this and can't deal with this onslaught over at my third base. My expansions that I had, he just invested into that extra expansion there. We keep talking about it time and time again. Yes, there's benefits to going for expansions. Yes, you want to keep progressing and getting up for the next stages. But if your opponent realizes it and sees your army and gets information some ways and goes, okay, you're here, that means that you're not in this location. I can push here now. I can do these things. Why is your army smaller than it needs to be? Are you teching up? Are you getting an expansion? Wow, you've invested how much into that expansion? That's like 3 units right there that I can now just be like, well, my army is going to be at least bigger than yours based on me not investing in that expansion there. So let's get ready. Let's get loaded in here. Spawning up in the north. Currently on a win streak of 2. He is representing all things real time. With the good lucks, have fun. It is Bose. And his opponent spawning down in the south with the revive, trying to eliminate his opponent, trying to get that next victory edge out in this best of 7 team league series. He is our blue player representing the homies, our Vanguard player known as Skillis. All right, Secluded Grove. So, couple things to note as we get into this. There are little resource flowers on the map. That's why you'll see the scout running all over the place looking for resources that he could be able to gobble up and help out for his, of course, commander there. There are resources camps that exist. One little lone camp over in the corners here. You can be able to, of course, creep all these around. There are the speed camps that exist. Lots. You'll notice that there's a lot more camps on this map than pretty much a lot of the other maps. There's also the watchtowers, top centers, bottom centers that you can be able to kind of get that little bit of extra information. We've also got, of course, our center area, that nice little secluded grove there with so many resources for you to be able to kind of gather up and get yourself an advantage. But we see kind of the Iron Vault opening, something that we've been seeing a couple Infernal players prioritize in this series against Vanguard players. And we will be seeing kind of getting over here. It's this annoyance tactic. That's the goal of this. I get to secure my expansion. I get to send a couple of Fiends over here, start harassing, start being annoying, and see what we can make happen with this. So this is going to get in here. Doggo's going to come in, just kind of push him back, annoy him a little bit. And this little micro battles. This is not like game-ending stuff, right? This is all just kind of normal openings that we're seeing. We're starting to see Ore get added in here so he could be able to kind of set up for the next stages and getting on the Conclave, getting the Gaunts, creeping. But until then, we just get to see this run-around dance between dogs and fiends as they kind of scamper their way across the map, getting as much information as possible. But hey, guess what? If the dogs are over here, that means there's nobody back at home, and this Brute can now get a couple hits in. Brutes, very tanky. They don't do a lot of damage. As you see, these Bobs can easily kind of ward them off, especially as the Lancer shows up. But he could pop that into Fiends of his own. But we saw, oh, the dogs got caught as the Brutes came out. The busy distraction of, hey, pay attention to this little micro back at your base. I'm going to catch your dogs and clean them up here. Oh, great job there as he's able to kind of move his way forward here. Poking and prodding. Of course, you can pop this as it's close to death and turn it into Fiends of your own. But really, Skillis is not that worried about it. He's got a pretty solid defense. It's like, yes, this is annoying. Yes, I have to deal with you attacking me. You attacked me last time with an early aggression. You're very good at this. I'll kind of just micro and keep my units alive the best I can and, you know, hopefully be in a good spot for the later stages here. And yeah, actually, we'll catch a Bob for free there. Every little bit counts, and we'll get a second one. Nice job here. These little bits, every little advantage you could do to kind of edge yourself out is good. And part of that is the distraction again I'm in your natural, messing with your worker line, messing with the lancers that you have, so you weren't paying attention as my fiends came over and cleaned up a couple of your bobs. So if you're sitting there wondering, why is my ore count so low? Well, part of that is because I killed a bunch of your bobs. There's the Conclave addition. We're going to start getting into the creeping stages of the game. Sending over one lone gaunt. A lot of this is just kind of the normal, hey, I can start kiting back. If you get far enough back, you don't have to worry. And, oh, is he going for a quick third? That's awesome. All right. We love to see that. Oh, he's going to steal it. Thank you for the vision. I love when people get to steal. Like, that's one of the coolest things I think about the Stormgate game is the little things that you can steal the camps like that of just by standing at those locations and really mess with your opponent. We got to see that happen and had a big thing impact in Jagged Maw in previous tournaments that we've been able to cast, but it's cool to be able to see it like in here. Doesn't make the huge impact, but losing that vision camp does actually matter a little bit as you go, well, where's my opponent? What are they doing? When are they going to be attacking me? I don't know. So here we go, seeing Lancers moving the way forward. Now we're getting in that kind of tennis match scenario, right? I'll volley back to you, you volley to me as they kind of move their way over here to try to attack and find angles to make something happen. But this is a dangerous spot. There's quite a few units here, and these Lancers are not enough to really deal with this. His goal was to try to get in, get some scouting information, find out what happened, and actually, by him getting over here, he confirms where the army is, which is kind of where you expect it to be. You know, if it's here, it means you're not creeping. I saw that you've at least creeped the right-hand side because the, of course, spot moved away. Oh, okay, he will get it. It's like, yeah, I thought he was going to get it again, but he has not seen the third base taken and has no like real confirmation. He's going to go check the top side. You'll see he'll get the health camp over there, and there's the Fiend going to be able to go and scout and say, okay, cool. You have your third base up. We're kind of in the same place. You're not going some crazy all-in or nothing like that. It's just cool. Lancers coming out again. We're in heavy biotech styles right now. The gold things we're going to start seeing is continue with the Lancers and slowly transition and start getting exos, similar to what we saw last time. You see them, right? They're starting to get added to the mix. This fighting force is very powerful. They get stronger the more that you kill. Increases their damage, increases their health. All right, you can see already 288, 240 normally, damage 11. Normally they're sitting at 10. So these little nuances is part of the fun of playing as Vanguard. You get to kind of level up and power up your stuff. But trying to deal with this vision camp with a couple of brutes. But again, we're at the stage where brutes aren't really useful other than being tanks, absorbing hits. Oh, is he going to go check? Yes, he did. He got the check. All right, he confirmed. Sent a Lancer down there and did. Oh, gets a trap. Actually catches a couple of these brutes here. So very nice. A couple of the Hellborns coming out. So there's our tech transition that we were starting to see. More Conclaves going to get added in. So we're going to see a similar fighting force that we saw last game, where it's going to be heavier into Hellborns, heavier into our of course, Gaunts, but he's not ready yet. This is a small window where things are vulnerable. Now, if our Vanguard player can hold on with this fighting force, he'll be in a much better position. It depends. Last time he committed and ended up losing it, and he's going for the commitment here, and he knows this is a full-on commitment. I'm sitting here and expecting this force to be able to be in a rough spot. And, oh, clears a path with a bob, gets in, gets out. No problem. He wasn't even worried. Says, I already was thinking ahead. I know exactly what I need to do to slip out of here and not lose this army. But keeping the pressure up is huge here. Couple of forces coming in, getting the confirmation. Okay, what are you doing? Getting your Shroud Stones. Okay, that makes sense. Fourth base getting secured behind all this. We've talked about how really skilled RTS players are going to be doing that. As they're being aggressive, they're poking up on the maps. They're also sitting here and trying to expand and progress their game plan. And look at this. Hey, your army is over there defending, so that means you have nobody over here at your natural. And he's going to get in here and find an angle. It's got to be careful. The Shroud Stones are there. Hellborn is there, so it's like very tough to kind of really push in here. But this is that pay attention over here, look at this way, don't look over here kind of thing. While in the meantime, all these troops are healing up. Expansion's coming down. That means that there is a lot invested into this fourth base. This was this tough window that we ran into last game, right, where we saw Skillus kind of in this window of saying, okay, you're vulnerable now. You've missed out on a couple of cycles of your production for your army because you committed into a base. But this is a little bit different than last time. We're seeing the harassments, the stuff that we talked about. If you're turtled up, you've got to find either ways to expand outward to get advantages or harass your opponent in their find those chinks in their armor, the vulnerabilities, and we're seeing it on both angles. Look at this. Pay attention over here. I'll push in here. Oh, there's your army coming. All right, I'll back up. Now there's another army coming here. How well can you deal with 2 battalions fighting at the same time? Right now, he's defending okay, but this is a much more vulnerable location. And now look at this. He knows the army wants to start moving up, and he goes in. Will he get a Hellborn? Actually going to be able to get up on this army a little bit quicker. A couple of the Exos stuck in the back, not able to fight, but this fighting force still going strong at the natural. Hellborns have spawned up. They are going to start cleaning some of this stuff up, but not before actually getting taken out, and he's got to be very careful. Pulling forth, bringing the gaunts. We saw the recharge here, so we can start doing an additional cycle of units, but forcing this up means, guess what? Your expansion is vulnerable, and he can get up there and deal some more damage, finding some angles. That battalion push is great. He kept the core Exos alive here. All right, he ended up losing a lot of the Lancers, but kept the Exos alive. So now it's this kind of vulnerability. Okay, I've committed a lot to this push. How well can I defend? Because my opponent is more than likely going to come capitalize on the fact that I lost a lot of forces. Now, there's only one Hellborn in this. This next fight, pay close attention to the positioning of this Hellborn and positioning of these Gaunts. A couple Fiends do get the confirmation that there's a base over here, forcing the army out of position. That means there's not much over here. Lancer's going to try to poke his way forward here. Get confirmation. Where's the army? Sees it as Bobs are trying to clear up the path to the center. He wants to go for it, but look at this. We're seeing a very forward position, going for a very hard contain here with a bunch of Shroud Stones as a fallback point. He's going to utilize it not only to get Shroud, but extra damage to kind of lock down this location here. The Hellborn count is increasing. Things are looking tough. There's not much in the front line, though, but the amount of damage that this army has as an output is crazy. Where is the rest of the forces? They're going to try for a flank in this location, but the Shroud Stones are there to watch the flank, and they're going to be finishing up in seconds. Can he get there? Can he get the timing that he needs? And here he goes, moving his way forward. He's got to find that sandwich positioning here. All the Gaunts are split up here, couple on the right, couple at the top, but he can't push in. There's not a way to break this yet. He needs both of his forces here. There's the Lancers coming from the south, getting on top of this army. Exos coming up from the north here. Can he get the sandwich that he needs? And look at this, picking apart the Gaunts. You see them just popping. But, oh, huge hits there from the Hellborns. That's the power of splash damage that they've got involved in it. And he can be able to kind of push this back further and slowly creep his way, increase this hard contain even further. And now he's camping some of the production. We've talked about how dangerous it is once you're in this position, and now one barracks falls, a second one falls. If things get crazy, he just needs to fall backwards. But Lancer's going to, again, get forward here, slicing on some of the Gaunts, and there's the actual real army coming from the north here. Can he get up there? Can he jump on it? Oh, Infest coming. There comes a Magmadon slamming down on the Lancers. But the Exos are what we're worried about. If he can keep these alive, he can stay in this game here. And we see this positioning moving back and forth, pushing and pulling his way around here, trying to find the angle. A couple of Magmadons getting in. But again, Hellborns still splashing down so much damage on these weak units. There's no medtechs to heal them up. So every time that they get weak from all the Gaunts hits, the dots, the damage over time are really weakening these forces. And this push is continuing. He's continuing to move his way forward here, both showing why he has the power of all things RTS on his side to be able to get in here, showing these skills to take a 2-0 lead and trying to close things out to get a 3-0 lead, going for his 4-2 victory is what he's hoping for. But we'll see. It's a best of 7, and it's not over yet. We do see, of course, Skilless is all trying his best, scrambling, and the longer he stays in it, the better it is for any player that might come after him if he cannot crack this open. More Lancers coming in. He's slicing the Gaunts here, though. We see a couple of red starting to trickle its way across the map. Defender's advantage helping out. Was he able to produce a couple more barracks? A couple more are on this backside starting to pop out here. More Lancers still here, but a lot of these high health units in the back still reigning supreme, still raining down fire from above, and things are looking tough. Now, look at this. Magmadon trying to get involved, trying to get in here, and there it is. There is the game ender. The Flayed Dragon is out. here to rain destruction from above, and it will start plaguing all of these units. You see them start to be infested and turn into fiends, and GG is called. The revive worked well for a while, but the push, the hard contain, a way to fall back was too much in that, and he was not able to end up making a difference. And all things real time, all things for Bose, going to be locking in with a 3-2 lead right now in favor of all things real time. That doesn't mean it's down and over with. We still have revives in place. We still have matches to go because it is the first of 4. This could be our last game, or we could see more. We could see a big turnaround here. We've got the homies now scrambling to find out who will they bring out. Who is the next player for them to have step up to try to put a stop to this? Let's get our intros going, spawning up here in the north. The Good Luck's having fun coming out. The player that is dominating up 3 games in a row now to put his team in 1 map away from victory. Representing all things real time, he is Bose. His opponent, spawning in the south, the captain of the homies, already eliminated once. He's revived, ready to put a stop to all things real time. He is Hydra. The mirror matchup, the classic Broken Crown mirror matchup. Opening up, Iron Vault, Conclave opening, tear down the trees, going toward the third base. This kind of creep progression towards the resource camps that exist down here, towards the speed camps that exist here, to kind of build up and get yourselves ready for that fiend army that you want to try to construct. Can we see the all kill? That's what I want. I see some people getting excited, getting the spams, getting the hype going in chat. Will it be an all kill? That would be amazing to see. Kind of the reverse. You're down 0-2. You bring out the champ, the one to try to get the all kill. We'll see if it will happen. Now, we see the creeping happening. One thing to note, this little rock that we've got here, this little guy, little pebble, is kind of our marker. All right, there's markers on the maps for you to kind of know how to creep, how to sit here and battle. Oh, there's also these little trees, little bushes that you can pop, and they have slow markers. So little doodads and aspects to kind of, you know, help you with your creeping. But we're not seeing anyone go for like the tower in the center. We're not seeing anybody go for like the towers over here to help with the visions and the creeping, or any towers over here to help with these later on. So just kind of the utilizing our resources just for armies. Now, every now and again, this will happen where players just kind of run in here and just get a lot of damage done. And that's already a great little start. More units coming out there. Here's the flank, though. If you can get the Gaunt, that's what he's hoping for. Pay attention to the Gaunt count for these players in this fight here. There's not very many right now, and you're kind of split in this weird, awkward position as the Fiends are dancing around. Look at this. Will start to kind of split, and will pick off what he can here. Gaunts are low, but he's holding Defender's Advantage, coming in clutch to help him out here. Hydra not giving up, though, continuing this aggression, saying, let's see if I can find an angle. Will chase down a Gaunt. Yep. And keeps it up here. But Defender's Advantage coming in favor. More brutes, more fiends. And he's got to be careful not to lose these. Next brute's going to show up. Look how even this is. And that's like kind of that, you know, thing we were talking about of extremely skilled players, that they are able to sit here and do these like trades and these micro battles and come out completely even. Great healing right there. Finding that healing flower so he could be able to kind of heal up that one unit. Moving his way forward here. Single targeting down. And oh, he goes for it right away. Pops his one and will start to single target it down. That's the danger here. These fiends are so fast and so quick at jumping on top of the Gaunts here. And great little bit of micro hold here. And yep, will be able to come out on top, keeping one Gaunt alive. Whew. The challenge, the stress of that first little micro battle between these players as they kind of progress forward here. And now kind of the next stages are, okay, how quickly can you secure your expansion and progress to the next stages? What are you going to do once you get your expansion up? Are you going to be immediately going into that greater spire or greater shrine here so you can be able to start doing some drop play? Are you going to just utilize the fact that I'm stuck in my base and you could just creep forever? That's usually what you're doing. All right, you need to sit here and go, well, you now cannot get out on the map because you have a smaller army than me. Anything that you get out here, I have a strong chance of being able to kill off. Additional conclaves getting added into the mix here. What we expect to see is, in order to kind of utilize that expansion just finishing for Hydra, so he will be able to go up. Hydra has been known to be a very defensive player from time to time as it gets into the later stages of the game, and he just gets an army and goes, okay, I've been defensive enough. I've defended against your aggression. Now I'm just going to go kill you. And he just is able to do that. Boast on the other side is like, I'm going to be aggressive. I'll be aggressive, fight, do these pushes. I'll have these aggro things, these things to throw you off. But I'm really going to be relying on information to help me, right? I'm going to use the fiends to find out exactly where your army is. I'm going to be checking to see, do you have expansions up? So I know how my timing works out for when I decide to be able to take my expansions, when I decide to commit to these things. There's the Greater Shrine. Greater Shrine's now coming up. Additional conclaves added in. Do we have our first? Yep, there it is. Doombringer's here. One Shroud Stone's there. Second Shroud Stone's finishing up. But seeing this and seeing how many workers are here is kind of that like sigh of relief and go, ah, okay, you don't have very much. But still let those fiends like in there and clean up even more of the workers. So that was kind of really actually a decent push with that. More Shroud Stones coming up though. Makes it hard to really commit anymore. And pay attention to the SimCity, the base layout that these players are utilizing, because if you're playing this game and you're looking for tips, this is one of those tips that you can be able to utilize, is having good coverage with your Shroud Stones to deal with the drop plays. You know it's going to be coming, and if you can be able to kind of position yourself in a good spot. Oh, the little battles over the air. No, man. Look at that. Hydra losing out on the air, losing those gaunts. They're such fragile units that if you're not ready for it, you will just kind of lose it there. And it will be able to heal up. But at the end, the gaunts come out on top. Third base is secured. Third base just now starting for Hydra. And every little fight here, we're seeing these kind of like slight little nuance things, little micro things that are coming out in favor of Bose. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to utilize these slight advantages that he's getting, how he's going to build up into something from here. Now, he still has access to his own Doombringer, which he's going to utilize and go over and heal up. Get both its regular health and that white health, the additional health here, to kind of help it in this spot here. And there's Doombringer coming out again for Hydra, trying to find an angle. Fiend scouts it and confirms. So, let's see. Shroud Stone coverage looking great. You want it to be able to kind of protect both bases. Again, split looking great. Finds a nice little, moving fiend over here that he can be able to say, get out of here, imp. Little nuance pushes here, but losing like is that. See, little things like this. We're losing out on troops for free. But there's the first Magmadon. On the other side of the map, we do see the push-up saying, hey, goodbye third base. You have no way to defend this, especially if you committed so many of your troops over there to defend and use drop play. And where are the troops? Yeah, look at this. Couple of fiends coming out here. That's not what he wants. And there's the Magmadons, double Magmadons loaded up already there just to kind of block this off, say, get out of here. This base is gone. I now have 3 bases to your 2 base. I now have a giant army compared to yours. And what are you going to do? Yes, you have a Shroud Stone, but now we're in Magmadon drop play now. And that thing is going to be completely different here. And these players going to be slamming, getting the resources up. It is looking dire for Hydra, but he's not giving up. He knows that if he can be able to kind of delay things, come into it later on, he can be okay. So his goal is to try to get in here and slam and get rid of the gaunt count. If he can reset the gaunt count, he'll be in a great position. But he's got to be kind of flying around, zoning around, and just trying to delay and deny as much as possible here. And is he finding an angle? No, but still just kind of flying and paying attention. Hey, look over here. Don't go near my bases. Look, the Fiend is going to catch that. That's 2 bases you're trying to do because you're behind, so you're trying to play catch up. But again, that's so many resources that could be in an army that are not in an army anymore. And here we go, moving his way forward here. Oh, Hellborn's even added into the mix. So now we'll cancel it, 262, so you do not get a full refund. You have to be worried about that, losing like 100, give or take, resources just down the drain. Here we go. Third base was secured though in this. We do see kind of Shroud Stones. 4th base is almost secured for both. His army is getting larger. Hydra not giving up though. He's teching up into the higher stuff. He's got the Magmadons. He's really just looking for a key angle to kind of help him out, but he is going to be hurting. He needs to have kind of that income to really power himself up to the next stages. This is a very crucial period here where it's like if things go on longer, then it becomes easier. But look at this. This is what we were talking about, the delay things that we needed. The Magmadons just reset the Gaunt count. Oh, one of them was infested. So he died inside of the Doombringer. All right, Vision Camp's going to get taken. Doombringer's going to come over here and see. Oh, okay, so you've had this base. You were just trying to take your 4th base. And, oh, actually going to start slamming and going to be trapping this Hellborn in the corner here. And he's going to be going right for him here. But there, nice juggling, hot pickup, keeps that alive. Will not let that go down without a fight. So this is the thing. Things are looking tough, but these little things that you can do to stay in here, doing the drops, killing the Gaunts, right, being able to kind of keep yourself going is really how this is going to work out, especially here where we're going to see additional production getting added on to kind of now finally utilize this income that we've been waiting for so long. Things are looking about the same over here with the big power up. The next set, oh no, this is it. We've talked about this transition, the Twilight Spire. Let's get ready. We know as things progress, dragons are going to be coming out here. We know that our opponents are building up a strong anti-ground army because I'm ahead in the ground forces. So what if we just go and transition into a mass Spriggan army? Same kind of positioning here. Look at the Shroud Stones. Hard contains, getting these forward positions that he can utilize as a spot that he can fall back to protect himself if he needs to heal up, if he needs a position to kind of stay on the high ground, to kind of fall back, clean up a couple of units. It's a great strategy that, if you have the resources to use, this is the way to go, right? You're ahead. Let's get more ahead. Continue to get expansions. And we'll be locked in over here, ready to utilize this as our forward base from now on. There we go. Get some Magmadons out. Make sure they're all healed up. And look at this. Oh, the imps get saw. He sees this and says, no way, you're here already? How did you get here? One Magmadon comes out ahead of time here, but he's in trouble. This is in trouble here. The Doombringer's in trouble. Very, very low health here. And now we're kind of in this weird spot. And there's the Spriggans. Surprise, the Spriggans are here already, revealing them very quickly. He's got only a few in here, but he says, this is going to be enough. This is all I need. I'm going to have a couple more rallied over here, but it's going to be just this little bit. You're going to start seeing kind of these swarms of red on the minimap. So pay attention as they kind of start reinforcing. We've got, of course, all of the Magmadons. They're going to be kind of these big, hardy, ground-absorbing troops that are here as the Spriggans are going to try to break this location. But it is very tough with all the Shroud Stones to be able to do that. What is this little meat farm here? Where did you come from? All right. Resource camps in the center. The Spriggan transition. Nice. Very powerful. Not able to break things apart and win the game with it, but he kind of resets, utilizing his Gaunts, build up that Fiend count so we can have an even scarier push. Look at how much red there is in this pile here, right? This tiny little ground force needs to rely on the Magmadons to kind of keep them alive, but he has to be hiding near the towers. If he doesn't, these Spriggans will immediately shred these forces. And this is kind of this downside that Hydra's in of going, I can only defend. I cannot push out. I cannot be aggressive. I can't do anything to get you on your side of the map, because if I do, you just come in here and you'll kill me. And look at that. He's trying. There's the Spriggans. Going to find an angle. Okay, you're weak. let's go in here. Let's pounce. And this is the time. He moves in, sends some fiends in. There's so many Shroud Stones in here. But the Spriggans don't care. Look at this. Immediately kills that Doombringer that was trying to lift up and save some units and runs back to the safety of the Shroud Stones. This forward position is so scary because you could just siege up and slowly push your way forward here. This hard contain, not allowing his opponent to leave his base to get out here. And there they go. Spriggans jumping on top of the Hellborns, saying no more. You may not have any more siege units there as he gets over here. And there, even dropping his Magmadons into the middle line, trying to break through this location here and cleaning up the last few Shroud Stones. More and more troops coming in. There's the Flayed Dragon. We were waiting for it. Where is it? There it is. Cleaning up. GG, well played. Congratulations to All Things Real Time for taking the series 4-2. The all kill happened. We were wondering, would it happen? Would any player get the all kill to take out an entire team by themselves? And we saw it. Both stepping up, saying, I will do it. You know what? All Things Real Time. You guys take note. Pay attention to this is how you do it right here. Let's get in here and attack and crush. Get this forward positioning. Learn from that strategy. If you guys want to learn how to deal with the mirror matchups on that map, that forward positioning with the towers, you have a great ground force. Force your opponent into having to match your ground force and then ready for the Spriggan transition. We saw like 3 or 4 in the main base go, right, you guys are all production related to getting us Spriggans. So very cool to be able to see how things work out with that. But we've got, that awesome to see. One quick thing to note. This is the Vulcan Team League. And I am NanMan. Thanks for tuning in with us today, everybody. Real quick, while we're still here, exclamation bracket is what we'll get you to the information about it. But we care about exclamation prize pool. I've just typed it in chat. That is, of course, giving us over there to the Vulcan Team League Matcherino page. So if you guys have not, there's 4 spots remaining. Come over here. Click this claim code on the right-hand side. Add that extra $1 that's sitting there that we could give to these players. I have already done it, so I can't contribute any more to that. But you can contribute real money if you want. We have $476.50 set up for these players that have played in the Team League. Team Leagues are so much fun to be able to watch and play in. So consider participating and joining in them in the future. Shout out to Adiko for setting up and organizing this map. Shout out to all of the players and all of the teams that participated in this event. We got to see 4 groups with pretty much, 5 different teams in each group. You had to get through group stages. The top 2 teams advanced to the playoffs. And we saw so many great games today throughout the playoffs to make it to the finals. All Things Real Time went down 0-2 to the homies to start. And then both came out, stepped up, got the all kill, reversed it. So good, so powerful.